Hello everyone, welcome back. It is Goblin Gang, and today I want to do an honest take on the Thunder versus Spurs Western Conference Finals for this year. There's been a lot going on, a lot of discussion about it. There's been a lot of people arguing, and I've understood a lot of points. Like I feel like both sides can be very valid. Um, but I mean, some things to start off first. I mean, we got to be clear. Is flopping definitely happens, especially from these three to SGA. Jared McCain and Caruso come off the bench. They definitely do it too. SGA. What was this? I think this was game three. He had 12 free throws shot in this game, did not shoot very well. They ended up winning this game. Um, and I mean, it happens, stuff happens. Sometimes you don't shoot really well. I mean, James Harden, good example of that. A lot of guys can shoot poorly and get a lot of free throws. Um, but it's so obvious. The only thing I don't have up here is because I literally cannot find an image of this instance. Like sometimes they have images and it's like edited or whatever. I don't want to do that. I want to get actual pictures from the game. So I go to highlights to get those images. The highlights do not show any clips of this because either they take it out of bounds or they shoot free throws, and they do not care. They do not. I watched a whole game highlights, 2 game highlights. They didn't show SG shooting a single one of his free throws, and he shoots 10 a game. They didn't even show him get fouled. Like I understand not showing the free throws, but not even showing him get fouled to. I mean that's a big portion of his points. He has 14 points in the game without free throws. And the thing is that he shoots poorly while shooting this many free throws. Like that seems pretty regular, and he's a great shooter, by the way. I think SGA is a good shooter. You gotta give him that. All the numbers I get for this instance are from Game 3. I used it because I think it's a perfect example of the real issue. The thing is he shot 12 free throws in Game 3. I cannot find a single image for that. I mean, I think that's crazy in the highlights. I mean, this is the difference in the game when it ended, and we do not see a single one of these. I mean, this is half his team's free throws. We don't see a single one of, not even a foul on SGA to get him to the line. I just think that is crazy, considering that they were down 15-0 as well. So the biggest issue is fouling, not necessarily in favor of the Thunder. The thing is that fouls. Let me just dissect this real quick. These are the free throw numbers of the third quarter, right? The Spurs actually shot quite a bit. They both shot quite a bit. The thing is that this is more than the first half. Like these are numbers from the first half down here. As you can see, 7 of 10 is the Thunder, 10 of 12 is the Spurs. Other way around. It's got to be the other way around because they missed. Nope. No, 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 no. Go back, go back. Sure, I was right. Yeah, I organized it in a way where Thunder was on top. Yeah, ignore that. I was a little messed up in my confusion of my own numbers. Okay. And then these are the shooting in that third quarter, I believe. The Spurs really slowed down and they struggled. The thing is that the third quarter's numbers also struggled a lot, and they shot more free throws than uh, the Spurs shot more than the Thunder in that quarter. And the Thunder, look, that they can shoot really well. They can shoot really well, and they shot good in this third quarter, but they shot even better in the second. Because I believe these are just purely second quarter numbers. They start off. Actually, this image starts off with Vassell hitting the three to put him up 15-0. So this is should be 15-0 at this point. Um, and the Spurs at halftime end up going down 7-0. And the thing is that, and it's not entirely fouling. The Spurs do struggle to shoot, and they really struggle to shoot when you take away their momentum. When the fouls get called in bunches, this many free throws. I mean, this really stalled the Spurs. Whenever they tried making a push, fouls got called, and their lead would go from the deficit would go from 5 to like 13, pretty regularly in that third quarter. And here is a play like that. I took up an image of that. I mean, this isn't the first. This is like the third time this happened in this third quarter already. There was a little bit of a scuffle here. Stephon Castle gets a fast break, gets fouled, and he gets hit on the wrist here. It was a pretty clear foul. It doesn't look like much from this angle. It wasn't really a super hard foul, but it happened 3 times. The thing is that they take away the easy basket, and you end up shooting free throws, which he hit, I think, at least 5 of 6 from the free throw line. Because he shot a lot of free throws early in this quarter. That's what I'm saying, is I think he was 5 of 6 here early in this third. And the thing is that free throws, the biggest pattern I've seen is when the free throws are shot, regardless of both, because usually it's fair for both teams, the numbers of free throws. The way the Thunder get them, though, I think is a little fishy. Um, but they both tend to get the same amount of free throws. But when they shoot this many free throws, the game stops. Doesn't matter how the foul is called, it matters that the game stops because that's when the Spurs start to shoot poorly. They shot 8 free throws in this quarter, and their shooting really struggled. And you'll see any quarter where they're shooting a lot of free throws in bunches, both teams combined usually, you're going to see the shooting struggle. This one was a lot of free throws. The Spurs struggled here, but the thing that really hurt them was going into that fourth quarter because a lot of free throws came in at the end of this third, really stalling the game out from like the 7 minute mark to like the 2 minute mark of the third. And that's where the Spurs went ice cold in the fourth. I think they only ended up losing by like 17, but they got like their bench guys in and they hit some shots like Kenny Olynyk. I don't even know all their guys' names. They have a lot of guys that are like veterans. Don't Not a lot of people probably know their names, but they shot decently well. But the Spurs, they're young. Their guys are young, and they're gonna struggle shooting wise. And that's the thing that's hurting them most is they're struggling shooting. But it occurs when they blow the whistle, because that's what people talk about. Is whenever they blow the whistle, you see it in Game 5 as well. I literally was calling it. The Spurs were up there like 15 at one point, and the refs called like 6 whistles in a matter of a minute and a half of game time, like free throws. The Spurs probably shot like 4 free throws. The Thunder might have shot 8, right? Just might have been imbalanced by like 4-2, maybe. But just that many free throws in a short amount of time really kills the Spurs' momentum, regardless. Like, this is an instance of one of those fouls. This is not the first time this happened. This was the third instance of this. I timestamped it as well from Game 3. So I mean, that's the thing. It's not necessarily Thunder flopping. The thing is that when the Thunder flop, they're getting whistles. They stop the game that way. So that's the biggest issue I see with that. But it's not purely just them getting free throws, because that's not really the true difference. The Spurs go ice cold when that happens. So it's not like it's unfair exactly. Because if it was just because of free throws, I'd call that more like unfair imbalance. But it's not truly just that. The Thunder are a great shooting team. Chet Holmgren. And the thing that's interesting, I mean, SGA is a really good shooter, and they have some bench guys. Caruso and McCann came off the bench, both scoring like 30 points in a given game. Like game 1 for Caruso, McCain in game 3. I mean, they both can score. So it's just the Spurs are young, and they're not the most consistent shooters, especially when you take away their momentum. They're really, when they get in a flow, they get in a flow, and that really shows when they start off 15-0 like this. When you start blowing the whistle a lot, I mean, all these free throws came in after this point, obviously, right? I mean, I think it's pretty clear. I think maybe he got 2 free throws early here, but I mean, once they start calling, I mean, a lot of these free throws came from this point, and then you have more of these in the third as well, and that just completely killed the Spurs' momentum. That's a lot of free throws to be shooting. Second quarter, not really as much, and they definitely hit some shots there, but it really kills the momentum. Yeah, you can see here. Uh, One thing though, I was really just frustrated about was wanting me to make this video. So there was a commenter, and there's people out there that say Spurs win is a good officiated game, Spurs lose is complaining about the refs. One person commented on that and said, "I've lost all respect for the Spurs because of crying." And I think that's completely valid. I think that is very reasonable. I think there's a difference between I mean, trying to make a point of something and then just straight up like whining and complaining, because it's not purely just fouls or how we all see it. It's more in depth to that. And it is more controllable, I feel like. It's not purely based on the refs. You gotta get more consistent shooting out of the Spurs. So it's not purely just that. So I definitely understand that. And there's a couple people out there, like big content creators, and I've completely agreed with what they've said as well, saying that, look, I mean, the Thunder definitely like foul bait and they flop, but just to completely blow it up and make it sound like that's the reason why these games are like they're losing is just wrong. And I completely agree with that. So they got to shoot better. One thing that I wanted to say is why I dislike SGA, and this happens in a lot of different things. SGA is a great player. He can shoot the ball. but he flops so much to draw the whistle. He shoots so many free throws. It could kind of be like a James Harden. James Harden's an excellent shooter, like earlier in his career, and he just shot so many free throws, and it was just so annoying because it was clearly like foul baiting, drawing fouls, and it wasn't really basketball. I mean, that's what SJ does, and it's very obvious when it happens. Like you're watching it, there's times where like there's fouls, and it's not every time he goes to the free throw line is because of this, but he goes to the free throw line or draws a lot of fouls because of this, which ends up leading him to go into the bonus, creates a lot of more free throw opportunities. And the thing is, I saw numbers on it, is that the Thunder don't shoot the most free throws, and that's the thing is they don't. Um, but they go to the free throw line a lot because of this. And if they go to the free throw line fairly, that's one thing. But they exaggerate these calls constantly, and I don't think that's fair. And everyone does it. It's not just the Thunder. It's across the NBA. You see it throughout the regular season. It's just terrible play. Um, the worst thing, though, the worst thing I dislike is when the commentators, the announcers, when they get in and they just straight up lie to you. Games 5 and 6, the announcers for the Western Conference Finals said, "What do you mean? Like he's not drawing fouls? Like the thing is that media commentators, they try to get you to engage with the game. That's how they make their money. That's how the league makes their money. That's what they're told to do. That's what they're paid to do. So the thing is when people complain about that, they're gonna obviously debunk the accusations. I mean, that's what they're gonna do because they want engagement. It might be controversial. It's going to improve engagement. It's going to improve the engagement they have. So of course they're going to do that. I think it's terrible. They do that a lot, and that's with any media, even political media. They do that a lot. They try to drive up engagement, and that's the thing is I don't read news headlines anymore, like articles, because the headlines are typically completely false, and they're just trying to bait you into engaging in it. Like they'll try to be as misleading as possible to get you to click on their article, and then the article itself it might be documented well, but the headline usually is completely false to draw up engagement, to spark a certain reaction from its viewers. Another thing, though, I mean, they were just straight up lying. I mean, games 5 and 6, they're like, look, I mean, how can you say that's not a foul? And I mean, he hits him on the wrist, yeah, but then SJ falls back 8 feet, right? And not every foul is like that, but to use one example of like the 8 times SJ is fouled in games 5 or game 6, is just completely wrong to say, oh, look, I mean, you can't say he's flopping. I mean, look, that's clearly a foul. You use one example does not mean, because he does get fouled, but you can't just say that one example represents the entire population of the fouls that he draws. And that's just not true. And there's a lot of times he falls to draw a foul and doesn't get it. And the thing is that the head coach is like, oh, that's a foul. Like, oh, how do you not? That's a foul. You can't. And that's the Thunder's head coach. The thing is on the other end. I mean, in a game that they allow to be so physical, because if you call a tight game with a whistle, that's fine. It's just consistency, and that's the biggest issue we have with the NBA is officiating consistency. Happens all the time. They'll call something on the one end, or they'll call something in the first quarter, and they won't call it in the third when it happens the other way. It's not necessarily like one way versus the other in the moment, but you got to keep the officiating consistent in the game. And that's one thing. One example I like to make of that is in baseball. Baseball, the umpires, uh, before the ABS system, whatever their their review system is. I don't know the acronyms. I suck with acronyms. I suck with timing, like when it did something occur, I stuck with people's names. I do know if something did occur though, and that's one thing I know, which is why I have this down here. But baseball umpires, before they'd have their own unique strike zones. It might be slightly off. They might give you a high fastball in the zone. They might not, right? Depending on the umpire. But they were very consistent with what they called, like right, not from necessarily from game to game, but within the game itself, which is the most fair way to do it because it's hard to officiate between game to game, but you got to be consistent within your game. You cannot be calling one thing in the game and then not. That's the worst thing that happens because the players are trying to play the game that you've created, and you're changing the rules on them mid-game. The worst thing you can do. Happens a lot. Football, basketball, definitely see it. And I honestly don't like basketball or football that much anymore. I used to love basketball. I've been watching football a lot recently. And one reason I dislike it is because of the officiating. Another thing is because they're going so, like, private exclusive, I would say, is probably the term, with their games. That you can't watch the games you want to watch anymore. You used to be able to watch the games you wanted. Now they're selling them off into pieces. And I watched some movies about this, like Richard Gere, and it's a way to make money. You take a company, you sell it in pieces to maximize your profit of it. And that's what the NFL and the NBA are doing to themselves. Baseball, a lot of these major professional sports are doing it to themselves. I think hockey, I haven't seen a whole lot of hockey, but I think hockey is the one that's doing it the least to themselves. So I mean, good for them. I think hockey is probably the sport I'm going to go to. I'm not necessarily a huge hockey fan, but honestly, a couple sports that are really good, by the way, rugby and lacrosse. Very exciting. I watched my first lacrosse game, Notre Dame versus, what was it, Princeton, finals for college, and that was a very exciting game. I'm not gonna lie, very physical. When you think of lacrosse, dude, these guys, it's to me lacrosse. If you guys have seen rugby, it's like rugby except they have giant poles on like a soccer field. Like they kind of combine hockey with rugby, I'd say. I mean, you can literally just take someone out, and then they have the penalty box like in hockey. You can go behind the goal. You have the sticks. But like a lot of the things are very similar to rugby in a way how it's played. But I think they say lacrosse is supposed to be one of the most American sports. But anyway, get back on track. Another reason why I dislike SGA, not that he's a bad person, but MVP, sorry, the MVP voting a couple years ago, Jokic and Luka were dominating. Both of them were nearly a triple double. Luka was close to a triple double. Jokic had a really strong double double with like 12 rebounds, whatever it was. Luka had more points, and actually had like 32 points that year. He did really good that year. But the thing was, is that Jokic was getting progressively better every year, right? I thought Luka should have been MVP that year. The only thing though is like, I mean, you can make an argument for it. SJ's numbers definitely didn't look like it, and Jokic is clearly the best player on his team. Luka definitely carried his team. I don't know who else. I mean, Kyrie, he had Kyrie on his team, right? I mean, I mean, the only other thing you could say, but look, Jokic had Jamal Murray, and I guess you could say SGA had other guys on his team too, but I mean, the fact that they're able to put up those numbers with other guys on their team is insane. I mean, Jokic and Luka definitely like carry the team. The thing that made me the most upset though is when they bring up the comment like racism, racist. Like they go, SJ is black. Why are you giving the MVP to these white players? The MVP has been like, I feel like has been very much like a, not that it's necessarily black or white, but it's I mean it just goes to the best player. It doesn't matter by race, and you see that. I mean, like someone like Steve Nash winning MVP a couple times, but like Shaq, Curry, LeBron, Curry. I mean, some of these guys are more light skinned than others, but like Joel Embiid wins it, Giannis. I mean, a lot of black players win the MVP. It's not something that is racist. It's something that it's interesting is that it's moved to international players, right? Embiid, Giannis, Jokic. I mean, Shea is a foreign player as well from Canada. But these international players are winning it more and more now. But to say that it's racist is just completely false. Like, it's just not. And it's crazy when they bring it up because you're accusing someone of doing something, and racism is bad, right? But it's a false accusation to say that it was racist because it obviously was not. So it's just terrible when the media falsely accuses you because SJ is not like a terrible person. The thing I dislike about him is his flopping. But the thing that makes it way worse, significantly worse, is when the media blatantly lies to you to draw media attention. Because that's how you watch your games. You don't just go like for me, like I don't go in person to watch games. It's expensive. But then when they lie to you, like you have a way of watching it, and they straight up lie to you, trying to convince people to think a certain way. It's just I mean they lie to you to do it is wrong. The thing was is that SGA, I think he had like 6 assists, 2 rebounds, 32 points. I mean Luka and Jokic were going off. Like Luka might have had like 35 points, whatever, 9.5 assists, 9 rebounds. Jokic, very strong double double, like 28 points, 12 rebounds, like 8.5 assists. And the thing is that they're saying Jokic almost had a triple double. Like, how do you compare SGA to that? And someone said that's racist. Wrong. And that's a terrible thing to do. I mean, I think that anyone that makes an argument like that falsely, like a false accusation, I mean, should be fired. I don't think that I think that's the worst thing you can do is lying to the public. But the thing is that they prefer keeping those guys on because now they spark that debate. People see that and now he's a controversial figure. It draws more engagement to them. So the media is just a money greedy device. I mean, that's what they do. They'll do whatever it can to draw more attention to themselves to make more money. And that's with any media source. I mean, political news, Though that's the thing I like about these like local news stations where they just talk about like the weather, just talk about stuff that goes on around you because that's not necessarily controversial. It's hard to do in a controversial way. Some try guiding it slightly, but even then, it's pretty like unbiased. So I just want to give you that as well. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'm Goblin Gang. This is my take on the truth between the Spurs and Thunder series. Just for that to be out there. Might have gone a little out there with my own personal stuff at the end there, but needed to be said, I felt like. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Goblin King, and I'll see you guys next time. Whenever I feel like it. Thank you guys, and goodbye.